Chapter 9. Tomorrow I'll be dead. On this day before I die, where do you want to start? What would you like to look at first? I get up. I have sleep in my eye. I make a pot of coffee. The water hisses over into the elements, spits at me. I can't get the water temperature right in the shower. Sometimes I think the faucets are switched from day to day just to confuse me. I eat banana, the texture struggling in my mouth. I step around dog toys, kick them into the corner of the living room, and open the window to the day. The street is its usual mix of bloated rubbish bags and metal frames. You could swing down them if they didn't always seem on the verge of collapse. The sky is blue, later it will rain again. There is dog hair creeping across my big toe. The day is light, bright, ordinary. I get up, I have sleep in my eyes, make coffee. Water hissing, temperature wrong, banana slick on my tongue, and the squeak of a rubber bone. Rubbish bags and metal and blue sky. Rain coming, dog hair itching my toe. The day is light, bright, extraordinary. The morning passes, neither snow nor frost, it just passes. I have had near on a month of these mornings. I am used to them now, accustomed. I make a cheese sandwich, leave the plate and knife in the sink next to my coffee mug. I should do more to help out with keeping the place clean, I think. I must not forget to show how grateful I am. I press down on another post-it note and write the word help before a large bang outside startles me. My pen wobbles, shoots off the yellow paper as I drop my pen. I had intended to write help more around the apartment, but the pen had rolled under the table now and I cannot be bothered bending down to find it. Help will do. I think, smiling as I post my final fothering dirt on the refrigeration door. The last light, bright morning of my life. On this last bright morning of my life, Ruby Jones looks out the window, wrinkles her nose at the black garbage bag lining the street, piled one on top of the other. She imagines the smell of the rotting vegetables and soiled nappies, though the only scent in her room is the vague, musky remnants of her design a candle. She can see a lane of sky made between her building and the apartment opposite. Blue, no rain, but it is coming this afternoon. They say the promise too of a warm summer ahead. Once they get past this temperamental spring, meteorological broadcasts from a future already laid out. They are right, by the way. She too has an unthinking routine on this last morning. Downstairs for coffee, back up to her room for a shower, shoes on for a run, some stretches and down to Riverside Park for a change of scenery, terrain shifting under her feet from street to canopied path to the pier, listening to loud music through her headphones, trying to outrun the beat of her thoughts. As Ash hasn't mentioned coming to visit, not since he told her he might come to New York, and she waited hours before replying, I would love that. And soon enough they were talking about other things, and she wouldn't ask him about his plans until a week had passed, and then another, until her first month in New York was nearly over. A whole month, and still Ash remained the lump in her throat, the ache in her bones. That was not supposed to happen. There are things Ruby has tried to do, remedies she sought, like downloading a dating app and engaging in tentative conversation with a few of the men who responded to her profile. One man, a financial manager living in Chelsea, seemed pleasant enough until he sent explicit pictures of himself in the middle of the afternoon asking, can you handle this? As if they hadn't just been talking about getting tickets to a baseball game. Ruby blocked him immediately before shutting down her new profile completely, her cheeks hot with embarrassment and not a little alarm. She had been this close to asking him to meet her for a drink. The unwanted pictures felt aggressive, sinister even. Would this financial manager have been the same way in person? New to online dating, Ruby had no idea whether this kind of behavior was the norm these days. Perhaps she was supposed to laugh it off or admire the guy's misdirected confidence. He didn't make her feel like laughing though. The whole episode made her feel queasy and then sad. Ruby had been looking for a reprieve from Ash, a chance to replace the almost of the relationship with something present, real. Instead, she found herself longing for him more than ever, for an intimacy already mapped out. This was not supposed to happen. Scratching the navigation of strangers and dating off her list, Ruby kept on running. She started a daily journal, wary of the words that tumbled out, embarrassed to see her heartache spread naked across its pages each morning. She discarded the journal 5 days later. She took herself to a talk on self-actualization at 92Y and another on guided meditation at ABC Carpet and Home. And she spent afternoons reading or people watching from the damp wooden benches of the High Lane. No longer a tourist, exact. Ruby spent the last days of my life trying on a different New York and a different version of herself. Nothing worked. Of course, anything she tried felt like a misstep, like she was still running the wrong way. Loneliness is distorting like this, with Ash as her only lodestar. Ruby continued to feel utterly lost. Still, she has no idea where she's headed, the story that awaits her, but she's so close now, we're almost there. This morning, very last morning, she's trying and failing not to think about her failures or about Ash. She thuds past boats bobbing on the water as she follows the Hudson River south before turning and heading out of Riverside Park. She relishes the burn of her calves as she takes the concrete steps to the upper levels, 2 at a time. Ruby has come to appreciate this park and its statues and boats and wide ribbons of water. There is space here to stretch out, no need to check your speed against the person in front of you. She decides this will be where she exercises from now on. There's Noah walking the dogs along the upper level as she runs. He loves this park too. Back in her room, flushed from her run, Ruby grabs her phone and sends an impulsive SOS and types out the sentence that has been swimming in her head for days. Am I going to lose you, Ash? His response comes back almost immediately. Not at all, it's just getting harder to respond these days. So busy. See you soon. Then 5 minutes later, maybe. Something bristles in Ruby. Perhaps it's the post-run endorphins. Her perception of pain reduced. A massive dismissal that might normally hurt her turns her top lip to a snarl instead. Despite her best efforts at distraction, she hasn't been able to stop herself dreaming about Ash coming to visit in the summer, imagining the dark bars she would take him to, the jazz clubs, the train rides to Rockaway for a day on the beach, the simplest of something they could experience together. She has let her mind wander to arms linked, necks, kisses, and yes, the nights in bed, hands over lips, gasped silent against these thin walls, fingers tracing the bed heads, scratching the way she would come against his mouth. Perhaps they'll never even make it to the bars and the clubs and the beach. Maybe. How stupid can he be? Taking one message and spinning up a biography in this way. She rereads all of his old texts now, paces her small room like a lioness, frustration growing. It's getting harder to respond. No. How pathetic can she be, feeding on every maybe and not at all, feasting on scraps. He's not too easy to respond. He has no doubt made himself available to other people today, turning this way and that to give them whatever they need of him. Never what she needs of him, ever. In this sudden blistering rage at her lover, Ruby wants to kick something. She hates him in this moment as a large raindrop splatters against her window, slaps against glass, slaps against reality. Blue skies can disappear so fast. Perhaps just a little. Ash hates her too, despises her for leading him down a path he cannot find his way back from, cannot make up for. He forgets all this in her arms, of course, or when he is alone in another wide, clean hotel bed after a conference, and he's had one too many wines. In these moments, she is all he can think of, his mistress, the one whose body he has traversed and drowned in and drunk from over and over. Sometimes the ache for her is no different from thirst or hunger, a primal need for her skin and scent. Other times, like now, when she reveals her neediness, her flare across the ocean, he wishes she would leave him be, think of life before her, and after her too, if he could just say the words. Why doesn't she understand? Why does she keep coming back for more? She cannot lose him, not when he was never hers to begin with. She's the one who offered herself up, agreed to their terms. This is not his fault. What is he supposed to do? Break off an engagement to the best woman he's ever known? Give up the glorious future ahead of him? If he's honest, this was never going to happen. If he's honest, what use is trying to get into his head? Ruby fumes. As thunder rumbles in the distance, she feels certain Ash has not been honest a single day of his life. I've left some things out. The days after my birthday party, I begin to relax, trust. I take more photographs. Spend time with Franklin at his favourite dog run in Riverside Park. Leave a message for the photograph school. Dog sit and write out more IOUs. Soon it will be a full month before I left Winconston. I have had 2 birthdays and I've had plans. I try to call Tammy, something I know I should have done much sooner, but she doesn't answer her phone. I make one other call, heart in my mouth. The school replies to my message and requests a submission, a portfolio of my work that should include. The form says a self-portrait designed to show us the artist you intend to be. I have taken photographs all over the city and I have 4 exposures left. I have plans. And then one early morning it ends. There was an I, and it was me. I was at the centre looking out until someone decided to enter the space I had created for myself, take it over. You think if you hold on tight enough, when things try to pull you away, you can still make it, but then someone else takes up all the room, blocks the view, and suddenly you're pushed right out of your skin. It's their turn now. There was an I, and now there is a he, a him, a his. The tip of his cigarette, vivid red, extinguished. The ash falls, little pieces of burnt snow drifting. A flutter lands on my shoulder. I go to flick it away. His hands comes down on mine, and I don't feel like telling you anything else right now. Thank you for listening.